Good day to all my fellow marks out there, and welcome to the wacky and wild world of professional wrestling, the only form of entertainment where the most dominant and menacing faction are dressed in fresh Hanes white t-shirts. Grab yourself a drink and a snack, kick your feet up and relax. You are now listening to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 20 of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. I'm your main host Mike, that's Mike GWP on the relevant social medias. Hope everyone's having a good week, and thanks for 20 episodes, and I'm going to pass on to my co-hosts who can introduce themselves.
Yeah, it's Dan, your favourite Bandito fan. Binned off Twitter now, thankfully, and it's been the best week ever. I'm on Blue Sky if you want to chat.
I'm Dab GWP on Blue Sky now because Twitter's a fucking hellhole.
I'm Andy. Back from a great show last night, the Burning Heart one in Wolverhampton. It was class, and yeah, good show today as well. The Progress one.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And I'm Wrestling Mark, and I didn't think of anything clever to say here.
Usually your ones are very funny.
I know. Oh, do you know what? Yeah. Usually I've got some fucking fire in my belly because about 500 fuckers have pissed me off on Twitter, but I've got nothing. I'm just quite happy. So I've got no dry humour this week. I've kind of Twitter was fueling my comedic timing, I suppose. So I'm a bit lost now.
Has your blood
Everything's
pressure
nice and happy. Like I've lost my edge now. Have you lot all left Twitter now? Who's still got a Twitter account out of you lot?
I've still got one, but I don't even use it really. I've posted about 4 things this week.
I've still got mine, but I'm literally just using it to fucking chill this fucking podcast, to be honest.
Fair enough, yeah.
No, I got rid of it. I got rid of mine, I think it was end of last week, and honestly, it's been liberating. It's just so, refreshing is the word.
I've had a couple of people tell me that someone's DM goes, "You're getting so much stick over on Twitter," and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, how have they got the time in the day to care about a Twitter account that's faceless? How have they got the time in their day to care? Like the day I've gone, oh, that fucking twat's gone. What a wanker. A week on, how the fuck are you caring about me?
Exactly.
How do you possibly give a shit that I'm literally doing the same thing, but on a different website now? How does that affect you? Like, it's fucking mad, but...
It's annoying as well because, like, a lot of the grifters have started making their way over to Blue Sky, but it's good because we can actually, like, control our timelines a lot more and just block them and move on now, and then we don't have to... No one else in your, like, follows list can, like, see what you've... who you're interacting with and all that. Just block them and move on. Those lists are so helpful.
I'm there for Discord. I'm there to have a healthy debate. If I thought Collision was shit, I would say Collision shit, and I'll have a discussion with someone again. But anything that comes close to trolling now, like, I'm not going to engage with it. I've spent way too much of the last 2 years basically, like, indulging these cretins. So now, done. Like, if I see you and I know it's bad faith, like, I'm just going to forget you exist because that's what you've earned. No interest in them.
Well, they keep coming over saying it's dead, don't they? They keep coming in saying it's dead. And it's just that everyone's fucking blocked them already.
Yeah,
so
that's why, because no one wants you to fucking exist, mate. The reason that heel Lucy, I saw that someone put that up. We're here, we're happy. The reason you don't see anyone is because everyone has blocked you because they think you're a massive cunt. Like, that is why you're not seeing any traction on there. Everyone else seems to be pretty happy. Like, again, I know that Collision's never a show that I always tweet it live when I'm doing it, but it doesn't get much of a response because most people don't watch Collision, to be perfectly honest. Yesterday, the show, like, I live tweeted during the show yesterday, like, I was getting far more interaction, like the last few tweets did, than anything I ever get on Collision. There are lots of people there now. They just want to engage in happiness. They want to enjoy the TV show they watch for their escapism. They don't want to get bogged down in the negativity and just trying to find flaws. If something's wrong, criticize it. Just don't be a prick about it. It's so basic, man.
Well, it's good actually because, like, Collision's been on a really good run the last few weeks, hasn't it? And this week's episode was really fun. It flew by. Like, sometimes I find Collision a bit of a slog, but this one was phenomenal. Like, that main event was awesome.
I honestly, I loved last night's show. I really, really did. There was, again, I've got to get over this preconception of pre-records. Not that much is going to be important because
I'm the same. No, I think that is the fucking thing. It's going to be hard to get over that because as we spoke about before, you're not going to get that big surprise, are you? Because it will get leaked. No. But regardless, you don't need a surprise.
how much did they not see last night? Because again, I thought Mina v Hardy, I really enjoyed that match. I thought it was what, about 8 minutes long, and it was relentless. They worked to make sure that every second was valuable. It was fun. It was well done. It was never sloppy. Really enjoyed that. Garcia v Johnny TV was fine. Shelton v Commander was really good. Shelton looks so good, man. He's in such good shape.
Good, yeah.
He's incredible.
Absolute beast.
It's insane how good he is.
Yeah. I claim beating LFI. I wasn't. I mean, I understand why it happened. If I like it or not, I understood why it happened. It was fine. The match was okay. It wasn't anything memorable. Main event, I thought was great. Like they beat the shit out of each other. They really, really went for it. The suplex on the top rope onto the rail guard was amazing. Like that hurt a lot. But the one thing I think, there were lots of like relatively important in storyline terms of backstage bits. Do you think that the crowd saw them on site, or do you think they withheld some of them so every spoiler from the show isn't put on social media?
I think you're right. I think you're right with that idea. I think they did. I think they held it back because if you remember the collision in Cardiff, we missed up. We didn't get a lot of the vignettes there either on the screen. So I think they probably do when they're doing the tape, and I think just to fit it in as well because. You know, I think they probably hold a lot, especially like just for spoilers. Like the Jack Perry stuff must have been because that would have been everywhere.
I mean,
I haven't seen it yet. So, what was the Jack Perry stuff?
Oh, it was so joke. So basically, so it was Garcia and Johnny TV had a match, and yeah, as Mark said, it was rudimentary. I think Johnny TV is quite good actually, and Garcia just was getting like great reactions. But Johnny TV came out with like MXM, and they were distracting the referee or something, and Jack Perry just beats the shit out of Daddy Magic, who was on commentary, and then he's not at the desk when Danny Garcia wins, and then they show on the screen Jack Perry beating the shit out of Daddy Magic in the back by his truck, and it looks like he's about to like hook, like I don't know, chain him up and then just drag him through like on his car or something like that. And then Garcia goes back, and then they cut to break, and then it's Garcia and Magic who've strapped Jack Perry to the hood of Jack Perry's like bus, and they just drive away. There's the camera like goes inside like the truck, and they just drive away, and nobody knows what's happened. It was honestly, it was fun. When it came back, and you just saw Jack Perry on the hood, I pissed myself laughing. And I was so funny. It was genius, but no, it was I agree. It was fantastic. And if there's two things to come out of Collision this week, it's that Hardy Cameron and Anna Jay, they're clearly like the focuses of the women's division probably in like the next like few years because they're really putting a lot of time and effort into them. And I can't say I'm not a fan of it because it's they're both like improved so much in this year alone.
Adam Tripp's done wonders for NJ, hasn't he? I know we've said that a few times, but fuck me, it has been fantastic for her.
More than the wrestlers think to do it. More of the young ones, anyway.
The Harley thing is more just a case of that she's maximised the screen time. Whenever she gets 10 seconds, she makes sure nobody forgets what that 10 seconds is.
Yeah,
that's what the Outrunners did, mate. Like they maximized minimal seconds, so they had to get more and more. And if someone's given 20 seconds and they entertain the fuck out of that, you give them 40 seconds. If they thrive in that, you give them a minute, and then you keep going. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's absolutely knocked it out of the park.
It's funny you say that about the Outrunners because I have a theory here that the reason I think the original plan was for grizzled young vets to be in this spot, and I think they've just been shunted down a little bit for now because the Outrunners have been so over. Maybe, and I actually think Grizzled Young Vets was supposed to have this thing with FTR, but the Outrunners have just took that place because they were so over.
Yeah, but is it though? Because GYV wasn't it a case of where they wouldn't be signed full time because they do Burning Heart and they do like stuff in the UK anyway.
I don't think they want to move over there permanently, do they?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're already in the States permanently.
Oh, are they? Oh, my bad. I'll shut up.
Yeah. No, yeah, they moved over there a long time ago. They said the life is there now. So Burning Heart's just going to be the odd thing. And obviously Japan dates and that. But it looks like they're basically doing Ring of Honor for now until, whether this TV deal comes or until they move back onto the main roster. But
if they have a TV deal, you need to have people we care about on that roster as well. So having like the Grizzled Young Veterans the Grizzled Young Veterans, that was a bit of a blur that came out of my mouth. Having them as the one of the focus tag teams there makes sense because you can't have it being an exclusive developmental essentially roster. You need to have some people that people know the faces of.
And you can't go into a TV deal with Dustin and Sammy as the tag champs. Not for me anyway. Personally, I think you need to get them on an established tag team. At least for the start, for the first couple of months. That's why I'm not big on sorry to go off here, but that's why I'm not big on the idea of Athena losing in the next pay-per-view and moving to the main, to the AEW roster, because I feel like Ring of Honor will need Athena for that first transition into the TV deal.
Probably will, which is a shame. But
we were talking about this in the Discord, weren't we? Because I think they're building to Athena Billy at Final Battle, where Billy's going to get her big moment. And someone made a very good point about how if she doesn't win, then the moment's gone. And this is kind of like they've already fought one, and it's a weird one because unless I personally think if Athena's going to get called up, and you need to send someone of equivalent sort of star power down to legitimize the Ring of Honor brand. So send Saraya. I said send Saraya down, or maybe someone said Hikaru Shida, which is also a pretty good shout. But equally, I mean, you're absolutely right. Athena has personified that division, and she's been she's legitimized it. I actually think it's the best part of Ring of Honor for me, but. Yeah, it's a weird one.
It's certainly been the most consistent part of Ring of Honor over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to have to send someone else to replace her. Sheed would be fantastic. And on the men's side, I'm really hoping Samoa Joe's going to go there.
Well, that's what I think the first men's feud is going to be, because Jericho wrote him off, and at Final Battle. Especially if it's on the cusp of a TV deal, having Joe as your Ring of Honor champion is a fantastic shout.
If you want eyes on your first, the introduction of your TV show and your first big main event, it's got to be Jericho. You can't get any better than Jericho Joe unless you're going to start putting fucking John Moxley on there or someone. You know what I mean? So
it's also Final Battle's at Hammerstein. So if you want to make an immediate impact, Jericho at Hammerstein would blow the roof off.
It would, and I don't know how far away he is. Dalton Castleback has to be in that title picture and going forward if you're on TV, because the man, like we said about Harley Cameron, the man commands every second that he's on TV. You can't take your eyes off him when he's on it. Even he has the best ring entrances ever. The fact his little random fucking conversations he has into the camera as he's walking down before he feeds the boys. The man's phenomenal.
Yeah, love a bit of Dalton.
Anyway, sorry, don't know where we got there, but we were talking about Collision, weren't we?
Yeah,
I agree with everything you said. By the way, Collision was fantastic.
But it's also it's the last one until Full Gear, and with one Dynamite and one Rampage left, I believe, or maybe even just one Dynamite, right before the show. And the card looks mostly fleshed out now, and this is in my opinion, I think this has been one of the strongest builds to a pay-per-view that AEW put on this year. And I don't think the card's fully finished.
They have 6 weeks between pay-per-views. That's the time. Obviously, because they were so used to having essentially 10 weeks to build to a pay-per-view before, 10, 11 weeks for the first 4 years of their existence. I do feel that when they rattle through them, they do I do feel that there's just a bit too much to juggle for them at times, because they often have they have so many specials as well, obviously, to try and bump ratings. This feels like, again, I think they built pay-per-views pretty well this year. I think Revolution was one of the best builds they've ever done. And again, they had basically the best part of, they had over 2 months to build to that. And then in the summer, I think they did really well for All In, and then Wrestle Dream and All Out, not so much. So I feel that when they have this kind of a build, they thrive. And every match, again, the brilliant 8-minute video, the VT at the end yesterday, the Guns N' Roses.
The Guns N' Roses one. Oh, it was phenomenal.
It made the pay-per-view feel that bit more like I watched that and I thought, fuck yeah. It worked perfectly. It made you realise that they really have, even matches you don't realise. You sit there and when you're watching that and you look at it and think, oh shit, they built that match pretty well. Some of the matches you might not think, even the way they made the Jay White Hangman match feel, it made that feel like it really is important based on a very, very minimal feud, I'd say.
It goes back to what Dave said, isn't it? The AEW people say they don't have any stories. They almost have too many stories, and that's the problem. The stories all over the shop. Even now, we've got stories that are going past this pay-per-view already.
It's also, honestly, there's so many that, you can't fit them all into one pay-per-view.
No.
I would say, maybe with one exception, the main card's mostly fleshed out. And then, 0 hours, obviously, just for that, low-key, light-hearted stuff where there's not really many stories on 0 hour because not as many people watch it. But still,
you shove a multi-man onto that or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the main card, it's there are still probably like 4 or 5 potential matches. If you look at like the current stories that they're telling that could get added, they won't all get added,
100%.
but there's still
but
plenty more, which they'll intersperse throughout like the weeks after.
Well, how many stories alone could come out of this tag team 4-way?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like you could literally get kind of 5, 6 separate stories coming out of 4 tag teams there.
Yeah.
And on the 0 hour, we've got the fucking Costco verse.
Yeah. but it's also like, I mean, take the Ricochet example. Like he's embroiled in a feud with the Don Callis family, and that's the one thing that I could see get added is Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet for the international. That's the one match I think we'll see. But if you think about it, he's also got a separate story brewing with Hurt Syndicate because they've given him their card, and it's like, okay, well, that could go in a different direction, and especially with the C2 coming up, it's pretty unpredictable, isn't it? So, but that's just one example. So, yeah, there's plenty of stories being told.
Yeah.
I don't know who's saying that it's not.
The Don Callis stuff's got about 4 or 5 different stories involved in all that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, so is the Hurt Syndicate because MVP's scouting everybody at the moment.
Yeah.
And the same with the main story, the Death Guy. There's fucking hell, anybody could be involved in that. And we're all still hoping we're going to see a heel Orange Cassidy come out at the end of this pay-per-view. Not obviously immediately, but, maybe for the next pay-per-view. Or Orange Cassidy beaten to a pulp to the point where we don't see him for a month. Comes back, leather jacket, Hulk Hogan style, fucking shit fucking stubble. And off we go.
Looking at the card, like so many of the matches, there's the potential for like a return or a heel turn or absolute like shenanigans in that match. There's very few you look at and think, that's going to end clean without anything contentious happening.
You could literally look at every single one of them, and that could be the case. I mean, I was watching that where we were just talking about there, the Danny Garcia and Jack Perry thing, and I'm thinking, like, how long is it before Danny Garcia beats the shit out of Daddy Magic? Because it's happening. It's going to come at some point soon. Like, how soon?
Now we need baby faces. No more heel turns.
No. I would usually agree with that, but I want a couple of months of depression so that when we get the big baby faces, it's going to mean something.
But we've got. Like, you look at it and think, right? Let's jump forward. Let's jump forward, say 6 weeks. So let's say Orange Cassidy's turn, and at least one other person of remote interest has probably gone to the dark side, and you're kind of left with Swerve, Ospreay, Jay White as
Jay White,
3 main baby faces, and then you've got Kingston Omega and Danielson to return,
and you've got Copeland as well, and
Copeland,
and you've got
Samoa Joe as well,
Hangman,
I suppose.
And Hangman, when Kenny comes back and gives him a slap and says, "What the fuck are you doing? We need you and Swerve to be on the same team here."
Yeah. Well, this is going to feed into my C2 predictions, which I've spent a bit of time today, like formulating, and now, like, I'm getting really, really excited for like the C2 because this was my favorite thing that AEW did last year, and I think this year could be even better.
It was needed. It was a good end to the year after probably their most barren period, in my opinion.
Yeah,
up there. It was tough from when they brought in Collision, juggling that. It was a massive misstep when Punk came back all round. When you look in hindsight, we got 2 decent matches out of it, and a show we didn't really need at the time, amongst other things. The knock-on effect of that went through the autumn. It was a real key start. Before the C2, that was when there were genuine issues. That's when the crowds were starting to really drop. They were having real problems then. And the crowds are probably about 15-20% better now than they were at the start of the year. The C2 was a saving grace last year, and it really kick-fired them because I do think they were struggling at that point.
Just before I move on though, can we all appreciate Darby Allin this past Wednesday? That jumping in the back of the van had me pissing myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That was jokes.
Him and Claudio is going to be. I hope they're given 15 minutes on Dynamite this week because that match should be fucking brilliant.
Darby just works best with somebody who just throws him around like a rag doll. Like, all of his best matches are with people who are like 240, 250 pounds plus.
Yeah.
Claudio and Darby, the time limit draw on Wednesday.
What, 20 minutes, you reckon? Or half hour?
No, I reckon Claudio's going to just destroy him for like 10 minutes or something.
I do. I think it's going to be a shit finish.
a lot of people seem to think that it's going to lead to Darby v Pac at the pay-per-view, and I don't personally see that. I don't know where that's, if I've missed something there, because Darby v Claudio feels like the more relevant and important match than Darby v Pac, if I'm being honest.
I would like Darby v Pac. I think that'd be class. But I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Claudio Darby makes far more sense logically.
But yeah, this is it. If you're going to have Darby or Pac on the pay-per-view, you can't really relegate them to 0 hour. And it's like, well, if Takeshita and Ricochet gets added, which I think it will, then there's not really any room. That leaves you with like 9 or 10.
That's 9 matches on the main card. That'll be. There's 8 confirmed at the moment. I think there'll definitely be one more. I wouldn't be shocked. They've had 10 match Full Gear cards before. Full Gear 2022, probably the best of the lot of them. That was a 10 match card, and it was brilliantly paced. Look, there's a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised if we get, like, the thing is, there's not really any stipulation matches at the moment. There's not really any gimmicks. It wouldn't surprise me if a multi-man Hulk, if they had like the Learning Tree against the conglomerate, against Briscoe, Ishii, and Kyle O'Reilly or something, and make it a no holds barred match and beat the shit out of each other around the stadium.
They did that on a Dynamite like quite recently. And I think because they've announced Jericho Ishii on the 27th. They built that. So I don't think Jericho's being on this card personally.
I reckon
they have announced a segment. I don't know if you saw at the end of Collision, they did a teaser for like Mariah's finally getting a championship celebration.
I was hoping
that'll take about 10-15 minutes. So.
I wanted it to be on Dynamite. No, I wanted it to be on Dynamite so they could kind of finally have.
If it's on pay-per-view, if it's on pay-per-view, usually, I mean, I know that the Swerve one at Wrestle Dream was kind of like moot because we were all expecting Lashley. But if you do it on a pay-per-view, you usually expect something big to go down.
Yeah, but they did that, didn't they, last time? And we got Queen Aminata versus Mariah from it, and it was a bit shit, to be honest, because we built it up so much.
So overwhelming.
We built it up as some big thing, and it was essentially just Tony Schiavone interviewing her. Interviewing Sky Blue. She comes out. What's Sky Blue? Queen Aminata comes out. That's it.
Yeah, it was underwhelming.
Going back, I think it could add the. So I think it's going to be Claudio, Yuta, Pac against Darby, whoever. 6 man at the pay-per-view, probably.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
I like that for the trio.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. But the only problem with that is I don't see that as something where you would realistically think the trios are going to change hands. And I think you know when you go into a match and you look at the teams and you know they're not really going to win, it takes a little bit out of it for me.
You make a good point there, because pay-per-views always feel better when you don't necessarily know who's going to win every match. I think the main event's a foregone conclusion in my opinion, but the all the rest of them, maybe with the exception of the tag title match, but even then there's still probably a glimmer of unpredictability about it. But I think everything else looks very unpredictable.
No, the tag team, it's predictable. We know the Outrunners are getting the titles. It's happening. I refuse to believe anything else. Yeah, nothing else is happening. Why would anything else happen? It makes no sense.
Well, if you're anything like us, and I know that we are, then it's happening.
I did love on Collision Dax's kind of he played it really well actually when he was like like it was I don't know how he did it, but he had a look of fucking bastards on his face as he said it. For a split second, it was very good.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, all these matches could have people interfering to help you. So, like, Ospreay, Fletcher, Davis could cost Ospreay, which favours that story.
I think it is. It's almost too obvious, though, that, isn't it? You know, it's...
That's what I'm saying, but it's there, isn't it? It's in your mind.
Let's go. Should we do a round table on the card then from the start? Because the most important one that none of you have mentioned at the moment, who's going to turn in the Costco verse? Do we think? do we think that Big Justice is going to turn on AJ? Going to twat him over the head with a chicken bake? Or is he going to lose and AJ is going to take it out on his kid and beat the shit out of him with 2 chicken bakes?
All I know is that we're going to get. All I know is that we're going to get like a bloodbath. And they're going to bleed more than Moxley does in the main event.
Imagine that. Okay, Joe, I actually think it'll be an entertaining match. I have no interest in the Costco guys, but I do rate QT. I think he can get a good match out of him. Make it at least, not channel changing for 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to whatever else.
I'm still hoping that Moxley might come out and just fucking murder them.
Yeah, but there's heels. If they come out and murder the Costco bears, we're going to be cheering for them.
Yeah. Beat up
Moxley
a
beating the
child. No
shit.
one's going to cheer for beat up a child. I'll be
I will.
cheering, but you shouldn't
Yeah.
morally.
I reckon most of the stadium will be. They'll be chanting fucking boom, doom, whatever the fuck it is. So,
we run through the card then and go through our predictions quickly. Then we
go ahead.
Not give us our predictions ahead of it.
Who wants to fire off the matches then?
I've got them in front of me here, so I'm on the old AEW tickets website with all the matches. Right, so I'll go from top to bottom. I'm going to exclude 0 Hour because I don't give a fuck. Right, 4-way tag title match. I'm going to go with. I think we got Private Party retaining.
My heart says the Outrunners, but my head says Private Party.
Yeah, Private Party.
I think Private Party, but I really want the Outrunners. I think I think we could have a return of Julia Hart. I think we'll have some acclaimed shit going on, and we'll have maybe FTR turn up. I think this has got potential for the most fucking shit going on out of any of the matches. Yeah.
Oh yeah, unbridled chaos.
Absolute chaos. I'll be very surprised if there's not incredible dissension or a return. There's something big. Again, a Julia Hart moment. I mean, post-match, he feels Private Party winning won't be the main story here. I feel it'll be post-match. Will that be FTR turning on Outrunners? Will that be Julia Hart returning? Or will that be the Acclaimed breaking up or getting very close to it? I mean, Private Party win. The team that they get the pin over, there's a lot of dissension amongst them, how it's happened. That's kind of how I see that one panning out. Yeah.
I can see the... I can see FTR come along and actually trying to help the Outrunners over the next month or two.
Yeah.
And then eventually doing it, build them up, and then fuck them over.
Outrunners.
Before we move on, have you seen AEW just announced CMLL stars are at Dynamite on Wednesday?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I've actually...
That leads me to believe that they could be involved at the pay-per-view because they did that, didn't they? But I don't know.
That's a 0 Hour match, isn't it? It's like a trios match. Yeah. Is it 4 of them they've got on there, 4 people coming over?
So they've got 3 for next week, and then they got Mystico for the week after.
So the 3 for next week, they could be on Dynamite. That could be them be learning tree on the pre-show then.
Yeah.
I actually think that one of them will be in the C2 myself.
Well,
that's
There
I'm
is
hoping
that
anyway. There's one on my list anyway. I really fucking want to see it.
Hechicero,
yeah, it is. Hechicero's phenomenal. He's the one. He's fucking incredible.
He's on Dynamite, isn't he, this week?
Yeah, it's him, Atlantis Jr. and Mascara Dorada.
One of my favourite matches of the year still is Hechicero Zack Sabre Jr. from the Rev Pro anniversary show. It was phenomenal.
It was great.
Hechicero with Danielson was probably one of my favourite matches, and it was early this year, I think it was. That was one of my favourite.
They were just like a fucking Rubik's Cube for like 25, 30 minutes. It was brilliant.
It was beautiful.
Sorry, Mike. Who did you predict for the tag?
To win, to pin the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed turn heel. I'm just going to make a quick point. I think it's weird that there's technically 4 babyface teams in this match.
Ooh, well, for now, yeah.
That's what I mean.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Very true. We are universally agreed. Private Party are retaining. Then we think
as much as I want the Outrunners to win. I don't think Tony's going to give Private Party just a 3-week fucking run.
They haven't defended the titles once. You have they? They haven't had a single successful title defense. You don't build it 5 years time. You win it. They built up to it very short but very intensely, made it a big moment to then drop it at the first. There's enough stories to come out of this for them to carry on, and then again, there's just give them a bit of time. They actually feel important now. Like when they're sitting at the edge of the ramp with security there, they feel important. They feel like tag champs. Let's like ride this a bit longer, and then again, Outrunners down the line. That has to be the case. But yeah. Anyway, on to the next one. I'll be honest, it's probably the one I'm least invested in on the card. But again, it's going to be one of the best matches of the night. But just I don't feel that much of an emotional attachment to it for some reason. Will Ospreay and Fletcher. I think Fletcher will win this, and I think the guaranteed heel turn is Davis helps him win to reunite Aussie Open, and Will Ospreay is devastated.
I agree. I think that's what's happening. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point to me. All the signs point to Fletcher winning.
Yeah, same. I think we're all in agreement here, aren't we? That seems to be the way they're going with it, doesn't it?
Has to be. they kind of built it up like this to have Fletcher lose his first big match following the turn, and it's nailed on that Davis is going to turn, isn't it? It has to be. Like, there's nothing else that makes any sense really for Davis.
It'll be interesting to see what they do in the 8-man on Dynamite, to see if there's any further sort of like question marks over Davis's alignment and everything like that. But yeah, the way it's going, it seems like he's turning, and
It's
we are
funny 'cause
getting
out of
Aussie Open back.
Well, out of the 8-man, out of the Will Ospreay team, I could literally see a situation where within a month, Will Ospreay is the only face out of the lot of them.
Who's on it? Wait, I'm just looking at the team.
It's Ricochet, Hobbs, Davis, and Ospreay against the Callis family.
I can see any of them turning.
Hobbs is a face at the moment. I think there's legs to run in this with Ospreay being a face.
I'll get to Hobbs later on in the predictions.
Ospreay's image in front of me.
I'm going to go contrary again. I think Fletcher's going to win, but I don't think Davis is going to turn heel, and I think we'll get a solidification of the AEW United Empire.
I mean, I'd like that, but it just seems like I don't know. It just like feels like they're building up Davis to be. He's not hit Kyle, has he? He's not ever laid a hand on him since he's been back. So that to me says his heart is very torn, and I think he'd sooner stab Will in the back than Kyle.
Yeah.
I think the tag division again.
You need the tag teams.
Fletcher's got like legs in him. He's a future singles breakout star. I don't think he's. I think there's too many people in that pecking order ahead of him. I think like Ricochet. There's just too many people in front of him at the moment. They're doing him up well. I still think there's a good year or so, 2 years to run with Aussie Open, a tag title run or two in that time. Bulk that division up even more because again, it could do with another team, another high profile, a top card tag team basically to join FTR and Young Bucks there because they're the only two really that still feel like the established top tier tag team in the division.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next one then. I think we're happy with that. I've gone on to the Dynamite card, so that's not going to be particularly helpful. So the third match on the list is going to be, this should be interesting, MJF Roderick Strong. I think MJF wins. Again, I'm going to keep with the theme I'm going to have here. I think he wins with the help of Adam Cole.
Yeah, I think MJF's winning because he's not gonna lose his first match back after being off for a while. He's a bigger star than Roddy, as much as I like Roddy. But I think what we get is, the Dynamite Diamond Ring plays a crucial factor, but Adam Cole holds on to it and he snatches it away from MJF. But then when later in the match, he hands it to him and he swerves us all and we get a reunited better than you, baby.
I like that, to be fair. That's good.
I want that more than anything in life.
Yeah, I think MJF wins. I don't think Cole turns yet, though. I think it's the start of it, but I don't think he fully turns.
I think MJF wins clean, and I think Cole comes down to, try and kind of help Roddy out, shield him from MJF, and then I think he kind of turns on him. I think it's got to happen. It's played this way. It's the only thing that will salvage the shit attempt at Cole being a babyface after his comeback.
He's got to turn him as soon as possible. He's not working at all. You can
the thing is as well. It's like, didn't they, when Roddy won and was consoling Cole after he lost to Takeshita, and Kyle O'Reilly come out and he just looked at Adam and just sort of with a look of disgust. Yeah. So
Kyle knows
they don't do that. They don't do that like absent-mindedly. Like there's a reason for that.
Yeah, Kyle knows what's going on. He knows Adam Cole better than anybody. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And if it leads to us getting a double clothesline again, I'll be fucking all for it, because as much as people slag off that year, they were more over than any tag team I can remember in the last couple of years.
That was the highlight, yeah. It was, when all the Punk stuff was going down, they were one of the best things going.
Here's my thought. Can I ask a question on this quickly? I want this to happen, and I think it will. But where do you see them for the next, say, 3 to 4 months? What do you see being like the story behind MJF and Cole? What are they doing? Are they just entering the tag division as simply as that? Because obviously before the caveat was they were the top of the card. They were the two main guys. Yes, they had the Ring of Honor tag titles, but that was a very, very basically a background prop in the whole story. Like, what do you see being the 3 to 6 month plan for them as a team, as a heel tag team?
I think that for me, I would have them winning the tag championships eventually, but I would have the entire, like, you know, the thread of the entire thing be that they just don't trust each other still. So that it's not as close as they were when they would, you know, they'll work together, but they still don't trust each other. They're always looking over each other's shoulder in case the other one's going to stab him in the back.
What are they? What thing is? I get it, but then I'm thinking. So, what happens between them? Because again, if MJF's available, you want MJF on TV every week, man. What do they do with them? Who do they feud with? Like for the next because again, we're thinking right. Private Party have got the tag titles. At some point, we want to get them onto the Outrunners. At some point, we don't want to get them onto MJF and Adam Cole. And MJF and Adam Cole having a feud with the FTR at some point would be great. But we're thinking FTR are going to turn heel. So I can't put all the pieces together. I don't know. If TK has.
It's a weird one.
I'd have them taking the tag titles off the Outrunners with FTR fucking the Outrunners over, but then who do they feud with from there? I don't know.
That's the thing.
So I've got an add-on to that. So I think you're right. I think that's what happens. They win the tag titles off Private Party or the Outrunners with the help of FTR, and then we get the Pinnacle back. MJF as the leader, Cole as like the, you know, well, almost like a leadership battle between the two of them. If you think about it, with FTR as like the muscle, if you like, and then Wardlow.
I don't want the Pinnacle, mainly because I don't want to see Wardlow anywhere near better than you, baby. And it just gives me flashbacks to Sean Spears, and the man was fucking the most boring wrestler I've ever watched.
My issue is it's another high profile heel stable. And again, like with Moxley and Co, like having another top of the card heel tape, like it just feels a bit, where do you place them at this point? It's a tricky one. There's a lot of avenues they can take here. I've no idea how far ahead TK and Co have planned with everything, because there's a lot of really intriguing and kind of fascinating ways they can go with this. I just don't have any idea how they get to the destinations. The journeys at the moment aren't clear at all, which is not a bad thing at all. It's good, but I don't see how they get to a lot of the destinations I'm expecting them to get to.
Got to be honest, I actually don't care how they get there as long as we get it. I just, I enjoyed it so much that I want to see it again. And if you added that thing where they don't trust each other, and because if you remember last time, Adam Cole was constantly untrusting of MJF, and MJF was trying to prove to him. If the two of them were like, "Oh, I'm not sure if he's fucking being serious here or not," for the run, I think it'd be great. It'd be compelling as fuck for me. Like,
that's it, though, innit? We're speculating all these things with the Osprey stuff and this stuff, and that seems the most obvious stuff. But AEW we think it's going to be A, and they'll go B or C or whatever.
Yeah. They probably planned until Revolution. They probably planned all this stuff out like months ahead of time, and they probably they're probably like dangling the carrot in our faces, leading us one way, and then they're probably going to take it in a whole different direction.
I mean, I think kind of hope. Part of me hopes that's the case. They have planned that far ahead. At the same time, I worry because if they've planned 7 months ahead, one injury seems to make Tony Khan's head explode, and then it gets thrown up in the air. So that does. I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I do like to think that you know exactly what you've got. 70% of the Revolution card done already, even though you've got a few pay-per-views and specials in between now and then. But I think it's interesting to say the least.
I think he probably has got it down that far, to be honest, because if you remember, that's why we had Jade as champ for 9 million years, because Statlander got injured and he didn't want to budge from his original plan of having Statlander take the title.
Well, I'll cut it out there for the better than you baby stuff. What if they start with the United Kingdom and then move on to a more babyface leaning syndicate?
You hope they don't take over the United Kingdom, Mike. Fucking hell.
Sorry. Undisputed Kingdom. Sorry, fucking hell.
There it is.
It dropped.
The penny drop. It's I mean, to be quite frank, we do need more face stables. So I wouldn't hate the idea of at least MJF like turning babyface again, just because he was working so good as a babyface.
It's just too soon after the turn. Like I would.
Yeah,
do you know
I know.
I would do that though if you want to get better than you, baby, 2.0 whatever as heels, and maybe they don't trust each other for the next 4 or 5 months, but then eventually they do start trusting each other and become. I would be happy with that, but just not too soon, because it feels like we're just flip flopping too much at the moment. Especially when I wasn't up for MJF's heel turn as quick as he did it, because I love him as a face. He's so over as a face that it works, but like he did it so well, to the point some dude in the crowd started trying to have a fight with him. I think turning him face again so soon would just kind of undo all that.
Anyway, we've waffled on for that one. Let's get back on track a bit. So, what's the next match, Mark?
Next up, Lashley against Swerve. Now, I've thought about this one a lot because Lashley has to win this match, right?
Yeah, you can't.
It'll be a bit
you can't have anything else.
There's no way he wins this match clean. The only way I see him winning this, and this, again, I've thought about this a few ways. Some maybe more underwhelming than others. Some maybe a bit too convoluted. But I see Lashley winning because the Hurt Syndicate get a new member. And that person helps Lashley win. Yeah, now, is that going to be someone very obvious, like Leo Rush? Or I think it's Andy Bowen. I think I'm now going with, and I'm hoping they...
Oh, man, yeah. It could be. That's a good...
I think MVP, again, he will be intertwined with the Acclaim this week on Dynamite. I think we get dissension between Caster and Bowens at the end of the match. I think we're going to flirt with the idea that Caster's going to help. Caster's going to be on the turns. And then I don't know how we get to it. That's a bit I'm missing out on because they need to layer a little bit. They need to sprinkle something for us on Dynamite that leads to this match because we haven't got that yet. But somehow Bowens, is he going to come and help Swerve? No, he's not. He's gonna fuck Swerve over, and then we get Bowens. I think Bowens is the face of the Hurt Syndicate. I think he's the one they strap the rocket to. That's my opinion. You've got Shelton, who's the brains in the ring. You've got Lashley, who's a muscle in the ring. You've got MVP, who's the voice. You've got Bowens, who's the star that you strap a rocket to, and he's got singles gold within the next 3 to 4 months.
I think that sounds fantastic. To be honest, I was going to go for Leo Rush, but I think that's too obvious, and he's shown interest in joining the Hurt Syndicate, so he may still join. But Bowens is the one, you're right, where he could come in and people would be sold on him coming to make the save. Bash at a beat dial. He's coming down and he just fucking cracks him.
Yeah, agreed. I think Swerve takes the fall here due to nefariousness, and I think we start to see the Hurt Syndicate get bolstered.
They definitely get a new member this week.
Yeah,
100%.
It seems too obvious for it to be Leo, doesn't it? Or
I think Leo joins anyway. I think Leo joins anyway.
Well, I've got a theory. Again, I'm hyping up my C2 predictions, but I've got a theory about Leo and everything like that. So we'll get to that at some point. But yeah, I think Bowens is the one to first join the new Hurt Syndicate. He's the first non-original member.
Well, it is a bit of a crazy one then, seeing as where all this has been going. What if they both turn?
Well, they could have they need a tag team in there, don't they?
Exactly. What if they both turn? And it's made to look like Bowens is going to be the one to come and make the save. What if Caster comes out, attacks Swerve, Bowens come down, he's like, what the fuck, get pushing, turns around and cracks Swerve, and Billy Gunn comes out, and they beat the shit out of Billy Gunn and leave him a fucking heap in the middle of the ring, because we need to see that. That's got to happen.
Great. I'm down for that.
And to be honest, that would give the Acclaim the whole new lease of life.
100%.
They've been off the scissoring, and then the whole Hurt Syndicate ethos, isn't it? It's about becoming more seriousness and doing, making money and like elevating yourself, isn't it? It's like, and the scissoring just has run its legs. It's on its last legs now. It's completely run its course. So
Caster cut his rap out. They cut the scissoring out. MVP, look, you got to stop that fucking shit. You want gold.
I'm not wearing suits,
Yeah, I'll take you to gold.
So this is all. Are we not thinking Swerve's got anyone to help him? Surely he must have someone in mind going into this pay-per-view.
He's made so many enemies, though, hasn't he? Like, who do you think?
This is it. The only person who sticks out, and again, it would be a bit of a convoluted, story you tell in how they get there, considering how they left things. But the only other one that I can think of is Keith Lee.
Well, I was thinking Hobbs.
Hobbs could be a good one. Actually, that's a good shout, that.
Hobbs is a great shout.
Yeah.
You need a big guy at your fucking match with Lashley, don't you? He's gone and got fucking Hobbs.
Nana needs to start building his fucking stable up there.
Yeah. Stable Wars. That's great, mate. That's a great shout. I didn't think that's a great shout. And it keeps Hobbs' face as well. It keeps him as like. I mean, they're not even tweeners. They're badass faces, basically. And I'm down for that. They work perfectly.
And what if Leo Rush joins Nana then?
Yeah.
What if we get to that? Yeah. I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, stick them in. Get the trios titles on them for a bit, because you've got to keep Swerve and MJF away from the title scene, but they feel like people that can only really be involved. They feel so synonymous with the title scene now. You need to work other ways to make them feel important and put them in things for the next 6 months or so before you can cycle them back into the title picture. And I mean, there you go. You've got Swerve. You put the House of Black. You put the trios titles on them. House of Black v Swerve, Leo Rush, and Hobbs. You can bring LFI into that trios division as well. I'm sure you can throw another. Yeah, that works for me. That's a great shout.
I like the idea. That's fucking brilliant. Give me that.
So 4 matches down, and we've all predicted heel turns in all 4 matches so far. Basically, one match I don't see there being any shenanigans whatsoever. Just I kind of still hope they throw a stipulation onto this on Wednesday, but I'm losing faith now. Hangman against Jay White. I think that I don't know who wins this. I really don't know how this one goes.
I think Jay White wins.
I hope Jay White wins, but I think Hangman wins, and Jay. I think, spoiler alert, I think Jay White's in the C2, and I think this year he gets the Swerve treatment where he doesn't win the tournament, but that solidifies him to get to that sort of like next level. And I think Hangman v Moxley could very well main event World's End. Hangman's wanted the title back for so long, and I think this is when you start to sow the seeds for the Elite's return.
Not for me, man. He's a heel at the moment. We need him to turn first, because the way we're going with the Moxley thing, you need him to be just killing all the hope we have, killing the faces before we then have to turn to someone who's essentially a fucking misunderstood guy who's really a face but has been acting like a heel. So I don't know. I kind of see where you're going, but for me that would be way too early.
Yeah, I don't think Hangman gets involved in our story until Kenny and that are back and force him to get into the story.
I agree. I think was it you, Mark, that came up with the idea of them having to work together, Swerve and Hangman. I think down the line.
I think that's what it comes down to in the end. That
makes so much sense. That would be phenomenal.
I think for me, like, I mean, again, it doesn't really matter because he's someone who can take loss as well. But I can't. Paige has won 1 singles match on pay-per-view in the last 20 months. That's
it. And was it the unsanctioned one?
That's the unsanctioned one. The previous singles match, he won a 0-hour battle royal since then. I think he was. Did he even win at Anarchy? And he won a Forbidden Door in a 6-man tag, I think, or I don't know what it was. There was a match on Forbidden Door 2023. He won. Before that, the last one was the Texas Death Match against Moxley back in Revolution 2023. His track record on pay-per-views is shit. And I don't want to see. I don't want either man to lose, but I don't want to see him lose another match on pay-per-view, to be perfectly honest.
This is why I think Hangman's winning, because Jay's already won the first match. I think this is the one where they close the chapter on the story. I think just it feels like this is like the end of the feud, if you like, and then they both go on to do certain things. But if Jay loses, we'll quickly forget about it, because I think he's going to be in the C2, and I think he's going to be like the talking point of the C2. Apart from like the final match, almost, because it's when you really start to elevate Jay.
Jay White wasn't it last year, wasn't he?
He was, but he made it to the semi-finals. But I think he'll do the same this year. But I think he'll get the Swerve treatment where he didn't necessarily like lose almost. I mean, he might take one loss like in the run up to like in the round robin bit, but I think he'll get to the semi-finals again, but there'll be some way that protects him from losing. Basically, they'll do what they did to Swerve last year, but with Jay this year.
I think he'd be a good shout to win it, to be honest. But that's another conversation.
I mean, I agree. I mean, you'll never see me complaining about Jay White winning a big tournament, but personally, I don't want to go down too big a rabbit hole here, but I think he's in the same bracket as Okada. He beats Okada, but doesn't win the tournament.
How mad is the fucking roster, though? I'm forgetting Okada.
That's why this year's C2 is going to be nuts. I just have every belief it's going to be off the chart.
It has the potential to be so sick that we could probably do a podcast episode each week just on what's happened that week in the C2.
Yeah, most probably.
It's probably definitely going to take a chunk of our time, because it's going to be non-stop great matches.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was last year.
When's it starting? Have they said the C2?
Yeah, Chicago.
Is it?
So I think they announced the participants in like 10 days. So it's a week on Wednesday. Like the Wednesday after Full Gear.
Yeah, basically the full reset after Full Gear, isn't it? Then the
Yeah,
It'll probably the week after it
that.
starts, won't it? Or the Collision.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think it will start that week. Or am I wrong? Isn't that
No, I
The,
think it
impl-
will.
the
Dynamite in
implication was
Chicago?
last week to get started. Then they said about them announcing the participants. They didn't say when they were doing that. They said they're going to announce participants after Full Gear. Hopefully, it's not on social media. I like that being part of the show. To be fair, it feels big enough.
I agree.
It could be they kick off the show talking about it, and then we go into the matches. Who knows? I feel a bit un-AEW like, but I definitely felt from the way that they spoke. Then again, Shivani was all over the place on commentary last night. So he might not be right on that, but they
Not
definitely
surprised.
implied it starts on Wednesday in Chicago.
Are you surprised he was all over the place?
Why?
With what happened?
That main event? Did you not see fucking?
It was in the early part of the match. Right?
Nigel. Yeah, Nigel was going nuts.
Yeah,
About what?
like Anna knocked Mariah into Tony, and she was sort of like, I don't know, dazed on his lap.
Oh shit! I thought that he actually he got concussed or something. Sorry.
Nigel was really playing it up.
He was like, "How do you go home to your wife?" Fucking nuts. Oh, I love Nigel so much. But anyway, what are we talking about?
He had
I've completely forgotten.
a couple with Nugget. He's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So how many matches have we not talked about yet?
There's the three title matches basically, or three of the four titles on the line. Next one, surely we're getting a new TNT champion, Perry against Garcia. I will be very surprised if Garcia doesn't leave with the title. I think it'll be the only title change of the night.
Yeah, I agree. I think because he re-signed, and I think a large perk of his re-signing would be him becoming a TNT champion, and I think he'll get to that. He'll do the whole weekly open challenge thing again,
and it suits it. Like they've left the Elite
him,
left
doesn't it?
JP for dead. Jack Perry's been left for dead by the Elite. He's all on his own now. There's no backup. What does this do for him? Does he end up right? Well, fuck you lot. I'm joining the Death Riders. I don't rule that out in the next month or so as well.
This is it. Yeah. It took the words out of my mouth.
He loses, and we see him join Mox's crew at the end of the night.
Do you reckon that soon?
That's my thing. Yeah.
I think he plays a part in the main event. I think. But sorry, Andy, go on.
No, I don't think he loses. I think he holds for at least another pay-per-view, and I think he probably gets help of some sort from the Death Riders. Depends where it is in the card. If it's late on in the card, I think he gets help from the Death Riders. Because I think it is going.
We've seen too many interferences, so I don't know if that's going to be the case. But
I know, yeah, I can't actually see there's not many that are going to have clean finishes from how I'm looking at the card. So I'm going to be way off on most of them, but I think he holds anyway somehow.
I think Jack Perry wins, and we somehow set up something with the House of Torture at Wrestle Dynasty.
Oh God, no! Please.
No.
He doesn't because he's fighting at Wrestle Dynasty, or is he fighting at Wrestle Kingdom? He's got a match with somebody, isn't he?
Does he?
Yeah, I think he does. Hang on, I'm going
to
quickly boot it up. Hang on a minute. So is it Wrestle Dynasty?
I don't think that's going to happen, Mike, but I do think we may get some stuff that lead into Wrestle Dynasty.
He's already fighting Yota Tsuji.
Oh, is he? Oh, sounds. Fuck that then. Fuck that then.
No, keep House of Torture off AEW forever.
Fair enough. In that case, I think Daniel Garcia wins, but there's no shenanigans. I just think it's the one clean match of the show.
Okay. If there's only one clean match in this show, it's going to be a nightmare on social media. And not so much Blue Sky, probably, but
it's still
Blue Sky would be sound.
Yeah, exactly. Blue Sky would love it.
Everyone will be crying tears of joy still. Fuck it. I think the TNT title ends cleanly. I think with the new champion, Hangman v Jay White is definitely going to end clean. And that's, a couple of the matches could have post-match shenanigans after a relatively clean finish. Because AEW don't do a pay-per-view when there's 70% dodgy finishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not their style.
We're probably way off on most of these, to be fair, aren't we?
Well, we'll have a giggle, won't we, on the post-Full Gear show?
On the next one, I think we kind of covered that one pretty bright and tightly.
Yeah, go.
TBS title, Mercedes v Statlander. I think
Mercedes.
we have retained. I don't know how, but I expect her to retain. I
Yeah.
just think it makes sense. I don't think she's got the title until Texas next year.
Yeah, I mean, they could always throw a curveball, like because Mercedes hasn't wrestled much on TV. The last match she had was against Emi Sakura, I think, a good few weeks ago. So I don't know whether she's like, I don't know, like dealing with some injuries or whatever. So unless that's not a factor, then I don't think that's winning this match. I think Mercedes should only drop it to one person only, and that's Willow.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Willow,
I'm disagreeing.
I was going to pick Athena. But
No, I'm disagreeing with that as well. For me, Mercedes wins. We have a great match. Mercedes wins. She's celebrating after the match, and I think Hayter comes to the ramp and sets up the next feud. And I think Hayter beats her because I don't think Mercedes needs a title.
But the thing is,
Not the TBS title, anyway.
When Mercedes drops his title, I don't see what they do apart from transition her straight into the world title scene. I want to be proved wrong, but I don't see what else you do with her because she is still the biggest name in the women's division by a country mile. So I don't know.
Agree.
I don't know.
I agree on that, but like, I think eventually, I think we get Mercedes Tony Storm when Tony Storm wins the title back, which I think is going to happen in the next kind of 3 or 4 months. And I think that during that period, you got to, the next 3 months at least, you've got a great amount of time to give us a really good hated Mercedes story.
Well,
maybe as I've said before, I want Mercedes to win the first match with help, and then I want Hater to go over clean in the main event of a pay-per-view because that is a dream match. And
so I agree. I think it is the dream match of the women's division, and I know we've talked about it a lot, but I think Jamie might, at least in sort of more immediate sense, like have something lined up, because if you notice Julia Hart's Collision promo, it's sort of the Dynamite Bomb. It cut her off, and that might have been deliberate.
I know. It looks like it was, but I'm hoping it's not because, like, the House of Black are faces unless Julie's going to come back, miss them all, and then they're all back, flipping back to heels again.
Yeah,
I know.
You can't turn Hater heel at the moment.
No, definitely not.
So it doesn't. It's one of them that doesn't make much sense to me. But I'm hoping to past all this weird booking that we had 6 weeks ago. So who knows? But it did look that way. I'm choosing to ignore that.
Yeah, maybe it's just coincidence then.
Yeah.
So go on, Mike. What's your prediction?
I've got Mercedes beating Statlander with the help of a debuting Megan Bain.
So, okay. So do you think, so we get a debut on this show? Mind you, to be fair, like, you don't really, looking at the rest of the card, you can't really see where a debut fits apart from maybe that one, does it?
No, that's the only one's possible.
That'd be a good shout, that actually. Camille tries to help, but Statlander ends up getting on top of her and beats the shit out of her. And then Megan Bain comes out and does the job properly. That'd be a good one.
It'd be interesting to see if they do something like that on Dynamite. Maybe like Mercedes says, like, starts belittling Camille some more and everything like that, because that's the dynamic that they've got now. And I'm not a fan of it personally. I think it's you've kind of like
killed the character
demoralized. You've kind of, for lack of a better word, like you've kind of like emasculated kind of Camille there. Like too soon. I think she could be like really, really like standout. But I think if you're gonna debut Megan Bain, then at least you cast Camille aside like now and like drift her apart, so Megan Bain takes her place, and then you have Camille as a babyface.
Or you have them both with Mercedes and Megan Bain being the better one,
superior one.
Yeah, the one that Mercedes clearly favors to eventually a point when she beats the shit out of him and kicks her out. But they've killed the Camille character like too quickly for me.
Yeah.
She should never wrestle.
Pointless to me now.
Yeah, she shouldn't have wrestled Statlander the other week. It was pointless losing on Dynamite your first big match against someone of a semi decent size. It made no sense whatsoever.
The annoying thing as well is that it was billed as like a really big match, and it ended up being really underwhelming.
I know, really? And like it's just, it makes no sense. But what I would like to see coming out of this, actually thinking about it that way, is that Camille doesn't get the job done. Megan Bain comes out, finishes the job, and then we have Mercedes with the two big ones next to her, and then Jamie Hayter comes out to make the save, and then set up the Jamie Hayter Mercedes feud. That would be good. I'd take that.
But we're all in universal agreement that we're not getting a new champion for this one, yeah?
No, not at all.
No new champion. And I don't think we're getting a new champion in the main event, but I think that the actual match itself is going to be, it would be great because it's Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy, but it's going to be all about the post-match, let's be honest, and what happens there, because they must have something fucking huge in store for this.
Yeah, I mean, the way they build it up, it's especially with like Orange's kind of like coming out, if you like, of realizing his potential, if you like, then that's going to be a central theme throughout, not just the match, but the post match as well. I think I personally think Moxley just beats him to a pulp, and we don't see Orange Cassidy for like the rest of the year.
I do.
And I think that you get a swarm of baby faces trying to stop the Death Riders from actually killing him. And then you have the Death Riders standing tall at the end with Jack Perry as the next recruit, if you like.
Interesting.
I think I agree with you about putting Orange Cassidy out for a couple of months. I would 100% do that. And when he does come back, we can have that Bash at the Beach moment where he comes down.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have him in the leather jacket straight away. I'd have him in his denims so that he gives us the illusion he's going to make the save.
Yeah.
And then he hits the orange punch on Darby Allin. Do that.
Yeah,
please
great
do that.
style. I love that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it's going to be Mox is just in control the whole match, pretty much. OC tries to mount a comeback.
Yeah.
And then Mox just beats him up. How the aftermath goes, I haven't got a fucking clue. But they must have some
that's the important thing here. What do we do post-match? Because that's going to be like, again, AEW don't end a pay-per-view without a really notable moment usually. So something big happens at the end. I'm sure the Death Riders are getting a new member. Again, we've said we think it could be Jack Perry now. Something will happen at the end of this show rather than it just being a basic, they've stood tall again. Oh my God, how do you stop them? There's surely more to it than that.
I think we see the Scream mask on the big screen and David Arquette utters some words to finish the show off.
I knew
I've got to be consistent with my theory. I do. I think that's what happens. That's where the evidence points.
Just check outside your windows before you go to bed.
It's going to be something fucking bleak.
It doesn't seem big enough for me, if that makes sense. Like, them beating up Jack Perry and just them beating up.
Sorry, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
and Jack Perry then coming. It's just a bit like.
No, I agree. I think it needs something big. So we need something really big. But I don't know. Like, I don't think we'll get a turn. I don't think we'll get Jack Perry siding with them that night unless it's earlier in the night and one of them help him out. I think. Do you know? I don't know who it could be. I think we'll get someone, but I don't know who.
I mean, there is still the question mark about Christian and whether he plays a part in the post-match or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think he's ever going to go for Mox.
He's got no interest.
While he's got that, while he's got that contract thing.
There's a reason he's got. There's a reason he's got a new favourite son because he saved him from that. He wants no part of Mox at all.
Exactly,
and as you wouldn't, it's the most realistic part of the show. Nobody would want any part of Mox.
No.
Yeah, but it's one of them. They could do a tease or something like that. But yeah, but maybe that's the whole point of like why this feels like quite a big match, despite it not being like the biggest match like on paper, considering the roster that you've got. I just hope it's a call out to like their all out match. I really hope it sort of bears a similarity to that one. That was fucking awesome.
God, incredible match.
All out last year, where it was just a bloodbath. I just hope that there's
match is going to be super,
sheer amount of violence. Yeah.
Who's out and who's due to come back? Who could realistically turn up?
I had a look earlier. The main event people that aren't there, that are absent for whatever reason. You've got Danielson, you've got Kenny Omega, you've got Eddie Kingston, you've got Adam Copeland. Then after that, you're getting down to the levels of Miro and Wardlow, who aren't anywhere near sustainable for seven. They're the four people you've got.
Yeah.
So, you've got the greatest wrestler of all time. You've got the greatest, arguably the greatest wrestler of the 21st century in Omega, but the greatest non-WWE performer of all time. You've got Eddie Kingston, who's like an AEW golden boy, and you've got Adam Copeland, who's always going to like garner a lot of interest. So there's four people there that they're the four. And again, you don't know when for all four of them. It's impossible to tell. They keep it very quiet on how near they are to return. It could be Samoa Joe as well has obviously been away. So yeah, they're the people that are away, and who knows? They could be ready to go this weekend. They could be 3 months away.
Out of them names, Kingston makes the most sense.
Yeah, but I don't think I genuinely don't think he's ready. I think his injury was really bad.
Can he walk though? Because like Kingston doesn't have to get involved, but he like out of them all, Kingston could be the one to rally the troops.
Well,
you could be the one to get them all like, come on, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how are you letting this happen?
I mean, I said it a while back when I still had Twitter. I said, like, when he returns to take on like evil Moxley, it will hit like fucking heroin, and it will. Like, I be so stoked. But I don't know. I don't even know if his leg's fully like ready yet. He might still be on crutches. I genuinely like don't know. But the last I heard was that his prognosis wasn't until at least sort of like the springtime. So maybe
when did he do the injury? Whenabouts was it?
He was fighting Gabe. He was fighting Gabe Kidd, and that's because he was meant to be part of Blood and Guts, but then Darby took his place.
Yeah. So when was
Darby
that?
Didn't end up climbing Everest.
He did his ACL. He's nowhere near returning yet. It's a minimum 7 months, you say, from when he underwent surgery. So August, September, October, November. You're looking at February's the earliest. I think we're going to get him back.
Yeah,
again, when he can walk, he can be on screen and stuff when he's capable to do stuff, I suppose. But I don't know. Well, he's the one that makes sense for this story for whatever way they decide to take it with him. Like, but yeah, again, you don't.
They showed him on screen. Before Danielson swerve at All In, they showed him on screen.
Yeah,
like rallying Danielson, but he still had crutches, and that was only 3 months ago.
Yeah,
so
that was
an ACL.
That was less than 2 months after surgery when he did that. So
yeah.
Were you ready originally?
What if Kenny returns? And just
it's not impossible.
Just on the ramp. On the ramp, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
and then sets off like us. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything at all. We just. He's back, and then we can kind of have the next couple of months leading into his match in Japan.
But the thing is,
just give the teasers.
For me, when he returns, it has to be when they've exhausted all resources. AEW, everyone's fucked. Everything they can't do, and that's when he enters that storyline for me. Otherwise, that kind of feels like The Rock turning up at Bad Blood. I agree. Sit down, get him on the ramp.
Yeah, and then he's just gone again. No, I agree. Yeah, I don't know then who would. I mean, the most sense would be Darby, but obviously that depends on how dead he is, based on Darby coming down half dead and trying to make the save and getting even more shooting out of him.
Darby's already involved, isn't he? And getting battered by Claudio, so they didn't come to try and face Mox.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If he's already dead, it wouldn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think we're ending on a fairly bleak note. I think just to drive home the seriousness of this angle, I think they need to be miserable leaving the arena for the next 3 or 4, maybe more pay-per-views. Just needs to.
I agree.
Still be miserable.
Like I'll hammer this home every week, but people forget how the reason Sting meant so much in the NWO storyline was because it had been bleak as fuck for so long.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything for 6 or 7 months, did he?
No, he vanished, and then we started seeing him, in the rafters. We had little teasers, and while that was going on, the NWO were just decimating everybody. They were every time someone got close, they had one little extra thing up the sleeve or a new member or whatever. We had great stories in the meantime that didn't go to that level, which would be your Mox level in terms of your sub. So like DDP Macho Man would be, say, someone having a great feud with Claudio and getting over because of that, pushing himself. Like maybe Daniel Garcia, Claudio would be a good one, just below that main event level, and that would get him over. But no one should touch. No one should be anywhere near Mox until we have that final, Sting moment, which final probably surge, it probably will be Darby, won't it? Be with the Sting thing, be quite fitting, really.
But I mean, you pretty much covered everything I was going to say there. It's just you just need to have Moxley and co just wrecking shit for as long as humanly possible until AEW is literally on its last breath. To the point where the only people who can save it is the elite who control the company, essentially. A babyface elite. No Okada, no Jack, just the Bucks, Hangman, Kenny, and Swerve.
I agree. as much as people will whinge about the fact that you're not pushing young stars if you're going on I don't care personally. I don't care. Like for me, I want to see the best on TV, and for me, that's the fucking elite. Get them on, and we can push young stars next year. Just give you the elite as part of this, because nothing would hit more than Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman being the ones to take down these cunts.
Then returning to carry on Wayward Son at the top of the ramp would be fucking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and for Hangman to be the one to take the title off Moxley, and then we can forget that this whole fucking shit with him losing the title to some fucking weird dude with a fucking Pepsi tattoo ever happened.
And this is the thing. You don't know how long Kenny's going to be able to go after his surgery. He's going to return, but he might only have at most 2-3 years left. You never know. It's one of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking
just maximize the time you've got for him.
I'm starting to think that like this pay-per-view might just end with them beating. It might just be just the level of bleak that Wrestle Dream was, and it might be how the fuck do you stop them? Because you beat Orange to a pulp, he disappears. You start the feud with Darby Allin. I mean, I still think they'll try and do something special to end the show, but I can't think what unless you're forcing something. Then you have Darby v Mox at World's End. That's when Cassidy returns. You have the Hogan moment. Darby gets obliterated. Darby disappears. Darby goes and climbs a mountain. Darby then comes back for All in Texas and the Sting moment. That's probably the way to go. But I'm interested to see how they end this pay-per-view, because usually you can tell, right, if Swerve wins the title, it's his crowning moment. Swerve wins the title, it's his crowning moment. Usually you can see what's going to close the show out. I literally don't know what they go off air with, which is pretty interesting because it could still be a massive surprise.
Yeah. What if Danielson comes back?
What if
Danielson comes back?
Yeah, that's why I was asking who's available, because I just think it's too soon for the impact of Danielson coming back to mean much.
Danielson,
100%.
Omega, the Bucks. It's all too soon for all of them to come back with this in the story.
100%.
Like realistically, none of them should come back until next year. I know that's only a month and a half away.
The only one that would work would be Eddie Kingston, but if he's not able to, he's not able to. So he's the only one that you think, you can see him coming back to make the save now. He's the next, he's going to do something. But again, if the fucker can't walk, what's the point? Or he's not ready to go again. It's a surprise for the sake of it. And it could be that after the match, Darby comes down and they could do something really brutal to Darby Allin. It could be something like horrendous to him that they do.
Darby on one leg as well. Like
Pardon?
Darby limps to the ring essentially on one fucking leg because he's already had the shit beaten out of him, just to get over that fucking, full on baby face that even though he's got nothing left, he's going to come and risk everything to try and help, and have them beat the shit out of him even more, and then that will also add in more to when we get the heel Cassidy this fucking him over, in a month's time, 2 months time.
Oh, it's a good time. Well, it's a bad time, but it's a good time.
And
it's really good.
What about right at the end, after all this, everything goes dark, and who do we see on the ramp? It's gotta be Gain!
Oh, mate, imagine.
Yes. Give me Gain.
I actually can't wait for that TNT match, by the way. Blue Kane against Gain. It's gonna be fucking brilliant.
Fucking wait for an episode on that shit, man. And so now we're going to go into this week's questions, guys. Going to start off with Mose from the Discord, who asks, where does Speedball fit in? And why should I care as a person who's unknown to him?
Well, personally, I think he fits in the C2. He's one of my picks. But, as to someone who doesn't follow him, you watch YouTube. Just go and look at it there, because he's fucking awesome.
He's very good, but like I'm kind of with Mose. I don't know where he fits in. I don't really know.
I've got an idea. Fit in with the conglomeration.
Yeah.
Is he good on the mic though? Because I don't know if he is or not. Like,
he doesn't need to be, because Mark Briscoe does all the talking for them.
Can he do facial expressions like Kyle and in the background at least?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where he fits in, but at the end of the day, you're going to get some incredible fucking matches. So, you take that anyway.
That's the thing. It's very hard to know, because I don't know. Again, AEW's mid card is just so fucking busy and it's so good. again, you always like he's gonna bring in like so many matches that I really want to see. But at the same time, it just feels that I don't know. I'm happy for them to go a pretty long period without any new signings. When they do bring someone in down the line, it will feel like really regenerate. Well, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. But like, there's been a lot of new signings this year. There was a hell of a lot of signings last year. I don't know. I just feel that he comes in and he gets lost in the shuffle. They bought Ricochet, and Ricochet is going to stay ahead of him in the pecking order for the next year or 18 months at least, as that guy in the upper mid card. So I don't know. I think he comes in and gets lost a bit.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We'll get some great matches out of him, but I just can't see any.
Let's see. We've got so many of those people. Are we going to get great matches?
I know.
Yeah. At some point, you do want them to come with all their characters for the character work. Like someone all right, Christian Cage is still going to have really good matches because he's a fucking brilliant professional wrestler. But I don't watch Christian Cage necessarily for his matches. I watch it for his character work, and you need to get that balance between them. And again, bringing in someone else who is primarily a work rate guy, it's just it'll be great when it comes in. Again, there's so many matches; it'll be so good to see. But again, it just feels like, again, as Moses said, why do I care about another really good wrestler joining the greatest professional wrestling roster assembled of all time?
Yeah.
This next question, we can give one answer each. It's from Chapel Combs on the Discord, and they ask, thoughts on what indie British wrestlers should enter a casino gauntlet match next time AEW goes to the UK, with the possibility of a winner gets signed rewards?
Can I go first? Because we're probably going to have the same answer, and I don't want to be robbed. It's Michael Oka, isn't it? It's Michael Oka.
Yeah, it has to be, isn't it?
It has to be. Like, Tony loves Michael Oka. It's already hinted that he's signed, and it's got to be Michael Oka.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
logically,
hard to because I'm trying to be clever. It's him.
And he's phenomenal as well. So, like, it should be Michael Oka.
He is. I mean, I personally think it should be Leon Slater, but it's probably going to be Michael Oku.
Luke Jacobs.
Everyone knows how much I love him to say, but it's Michael Oku. So, in my opinion,
I think Michael Oku is the best British wrestler outside of Will Ospreay. Myself.
Or another name in the hat, possibly with, because he's got ties to the company, is Ricky Knight Jr.
Definitely.
That's not a bad shout, that, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to skip G Walker's question just because we are going to answer that in depth in a later episode.
Is that C2 related?
Yeah, C2 related.
Yeah, we're going to start next week. In fucking depth next week.
We ran out of time, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, we
are. Next week.
We went over. Donna 3 asks, where do we go with Jay White after this feud? I feel like we answered this in our Full Gear review earlier on in this episode, but if you want to touch on that quick.
I would have Jay White feud with the Callis family. Me still. I think you get some cracking matches there out of the Guns, the Gun Club, the Bullet Club Gold, Bang Bang Gang, and the Callis family. I think that there's some phenomenal matches that you could get out of that. That's where I'd go. Give me Jay White to Kester.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think I said it earlier. I think the C2 could be, his elevation platform, if you like, to take him from, the sort of the upper mid card to like the main event level. I think that's where his next step is after the Hangman feud. But I wouldn't mind seeing him going up against like the Callis family and all that. Like his promos are actually like insanely good.
I know. I'm just thinking the guns against as part of Jay White, the guns against the Aussie Open.
Aussie Open, yeah.
Oh yeah,
that would be great.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
where
and
are
Juice
the
against anyone.
I think Austin's injured.
Right.
I could be wrong, but he's not been seen. But I don't know that Christian's hinted at something with Colton. I distinctly remember that. So maybe there's another chapter in the Christian Cage story to tell with Jay White still, but I don't know.
Actually, I don't want to go off on one here, but as we speculated before about the Acclaim turn heel and beating the shit out of Billy Gunn, maybe they turn up to make the save. Maybe we end up with Jay White and his gang feuding with the Hurt Syndicate down the line.
That's a great shout.
Huge shout. Yeah,
that's a great shout.
I wouldn't mind Billy in the Bang Bang Gang.
I don't think he'd be in it. He'd just be, retired, won't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
It's one of them because the Guns and the Acclaimed are always going to be sort of like enemies for life, aren't they? I suppose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the Acclaimed join the Hurt Syndicate, then the Bang Bang Gang as their opposition would be awesome. But imagine
Yeah.
Juice just like having a verbal jive off with MVP. That'd be
But
fucking
imagine
hilarious.
Jay White and MVP.
Oh mate,
Fuck
honestly,
me.
Jay
That'd be
White's so
phenomenal.
poetic in his promos. Like I think
He
he's
is.
just got this. He's just got this charisma. I can only put it really as he's just so
Yeah.
good on the mic.
Yeah,
Some
well,
of
look,
his-
Not
this,
get
this,
enough
this
credit.
is good. This gives them all something to get their teeth stuck into for the next couple of months. They can have a couple of got the C2 out of the way. It can even head to Revolution when you've got a 4-on-4, like a massive
Yes.
like fight everywhere, just like a no DQ pins cup. Like again, technically a stadium stampede or a thing like that, and just let them because AEW do those matches so well. And anytime you can shoehorn one of them in, shoehorn away.
Just jumping over to Blue Sky dead quick. I'll answer this one on my own. Dead fast. Ryan Schramm. He says, "You playing D&D with wrestlers? Who's your DM and who's the problem player? And what class is Eddie Kingston playing?" Spoiler alert, I'd have Eddie as my DM. If you've ever seen that one special on YouTube, the problem player is Orange Cassidy. If you ever want to talk about D&D and wrestling, give me a shout. Next question. It's amazing on Blue Sky. He says, if all famous bookers were football managers, which teams would they manage?
Oh, I've got this. Go on, someone else go. I'm gonna wait for mine.
I think Eric Bischoff would be managing Man United because even with all the resources at his disposal, he'd still manage to fuck it up.
That was one of mine. So I think Jim Cornette, if we want to call him a famous booker, he'd be managing Stoke because he's very old school.
Yeah.
He's outspoken. He plays lifeless content, and he'd probably have Bobby Eaton as a centre forward. And I think Paul Heyman would probably rival someone like, I don't know, like mirror Claudio Ranieri's Leicester, like an underdog, kind of rallying the team, a bit of inspiring, but he's probably doing something illegal financially.
I would have said Terry Venables myself, but
Wimbledon for me.
Yeah, I think Vince Russo would be Frank Lampard's Chelsea, chaos, drama, and instability personified. A little bit biased here, but I think Tony Khan would be Nuno for Wolves, a very likable figure, passionate, although unlike Nuno, Tony loves a bloated team, and he likes flippy shit. And Nuno probably likes Lucha Libre. He's met Sin Cara. There's proof of that. Onan would be Steve McLaren's Newcastle. Awful, demoralising, an absolute clown of the highest order, and a bad win ratio. And I think Bill Watt would be Sam Allardyce's West Brom. Gritty, boring, no nonsense, like long ball wrestling and just general all round awfulness.
That's awfulness.
I would have put nothing to that.
I would have had Jim Cornette as Sam Allardyce, just because of that time when Sam Allardyce randomly claimed he could be managing Madrid.
True.
Oh,
Anything to add, Mark?
Oh no, I've got nothing to add to that.
Beautiful. Last question, end off on a weird one. This is Tommy Dignan. He says, if we're aiming for weird, how does Matt Hardy's Lake of Reincarnation work?
Oh, I misread that. I thought you said, how does reincarnation work? I'm like, wow, this is taking a turn.
getting philosophical.
I don't care about Matt Hardy. I haven't cared about Matt Hardy for quite a long time. There's nothing he can do that would work for me because he can't move.
The way I see the Lake of Reincarnation working is you go in with a gimmick that is shit, and you come out with an even shitter gimmick. That's the way it is, you know.
Yeah, I'm adding nothing further to that, boys.
Just ignore me. Yeah, you got me.
Right, in that case, we'll wrap up the episode here. Keep an eye on the socials for what's going to be a very busy week for us over here at the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast.
Keep an eye on Sky Blue and Discord. Fuck Twitter.
Guy Blue's a wrestler.
Yeah, keep an eye on Blue Sky.
How many times am I going to say that?
Carl's going to be coming after you.
The day she joins I nearly did it myself then. The day she joins Blue Sky is going to be like, I don't know, she could do something really, really good with that. It's like, hi, I hear a social media network's like named after me. What have I missed or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Fucking watch for the screwdriver after that.
Yeah, lock your windows, Mark.
We love you all. See you next week.
Have a good
Take
one.
it easy.
Peace.
Peace.